Bear with me, I am not a YouTuber. I don't know what I'm doing. And I also don't have like a mic for this. I'm a videographer, so I should be prepared, but I'm not. So we're just gonna do the best that we can with this. I'm making this video right now because I get a lot of questions on Instagram, in my comments, in my DMs, and I've been getting one question in particular a lot. A lot of people have been asking me to share the brushes that I use in Photoshop, and that is what I use, by the way, Photoshop. I also get that question a lot. What program are you using? Adobe Photoshop. So I use two brushes to paint in Photoshop. The first brush I use, surprisingly, is the round brush. Yes, the round brush that comes in Photoshop. And that brush is actually what I use to do like 80% of the paintings that I do. However, the brush has been tweaked a bit, and I did download this brush from somewhere. I can't remember where, I am so sorry, but it has not been tweaked so much that it's even a big deal. You could probably make it yourself. You can make it yourself, to be perfectly honest. You can do a lot in the brush settings in Photoshop. I really recommend you actually check that out if you haven't. The brush settings in Photoshop can do a lot for you. But I downloaded the brush from somewhere. I don't remember where. I wish I could. But you don't even need me to tell you, like I said, because you can do it yourself. It's just the round brush in Photoshop with a little bit of grain, like a little bit of texture, grainy stuff thrown in there. And the grain only shows up, it's like a dual brush. Well, see, I'm getting into some technical stuff. Dual brush sounds intimidating if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's really not. It's just that when I press lightly on the brush, I get the texture. And when I apply pressure, like more pressure to the brush, it reverts back to its regular form, which is just your standard Photoshop round brush. The second brush, or tool rather, that I use is the mixer tool. Now, when I first started painting, I believed the mixer tool to be Satan himself. It was not something that I wanted to use. And it can be your worst enemy. It can be your worst enemy or your best friend, but you've got to know how to use it. You've got to know when to use it, in my opinion. Like, you know, opinions only. I don't know what all there is to know about digital painting. Trust me. But in my opinion, for my purposes, it can either be my best friend or it can completely ruin my image. Now, I don't use the mixer tool to actually mix colors. Like, I don't paint a color here, paint a color there, and then turn on the mixer tool and just smush them together. That is what brings out the Satan in the tool, in my opinion. You can lose all of the texture in your piece if you do it that way, in my experience. Maybe I was just using it wrong, but what I do use it for, however, ironically, is to apply texture. I use it to texturize my image, and that texture is the oily feel that you can sometimes see in my paintings if you zoom in. They look kind of oily, kind of traditional in a way, and that texture is the #1 reason that people ask me what brushes I use, you know, to get that oily feel. And it's not a brush, it's the mixer tool. But I've taught myself how to use it in a way that doesn't destroy my image, but gives it a little bit of life. Basically, you can use whatever brush you want in the beginning of your portrait, and you can still achieve the texture that I achieve if you know how to use the mixer tool. Now, the mixer tool doesn't do all of the work for me. I have studied and obsessed over so many traditional artists, like painters. Like the little feature on Instagram that they let you like save posts now, and they even let you put them in a collection, which is great. I'm getting off track. They let you save images, and if you click on mine, 75% of it is just traditional oil painters. And I just love the way it looks, and since I don't own paint or brushes or any type of canvases, I stick with what I have, and I have to use that, which is a Cintiq 13 HD, by the way. People have also asked me what I use. So I just use like what I've learned from studying traditional oil paintings, and I kind of incorporate it into my digital work, make like a little hybrid. So anyway, I use the round brush to get down all of my colors for the painting, which I just throw down. If you see my time lapses, you see me like just throw down crap in the beginning. Like I'm just throwing down colors. I'm just making it as messy as I can because I love throwing all the colors on there, making it as messy as I can, and then carving that out until I have an image. Anyway, once I've created the image, I'll use the mixer tool to add texture to that image. I'll also use it sometimes if I don't like the way my painting is looking, and instead of just constantly going over it or like, you know, erasing it all together, I will use the mixer tool and I'll just like go over the face or wherever I've messed up, and I'll reapply pixels. It's not even paint, it's digital. I'll reapply some color and things like that and carve it out again. And that way it's easier because I can kind of see where I went wrong, and it's also like a guideline for me. Once I've gotten things to look proportionate and I'm happy with them, with the placement, everything, I start going into the detail, and at the detail stage, that is when I use the texturizer, the mixer brush. I will say though that first of all, if you download a brush from anywhere, it will not help you if you think it's going to do all of the work for you, which I'm sure most of you already know. But secondly, when you download a brush from online, I suggest not being content with that brush. I've never downloaded a brush offline and been completely 100% happy with it. I always have to tweak it. And you should too. You should tweak your brushes so that they can better execute what you're trying to do in a painting. It helps you a lot if you decide that the brush isn't good enough and you go into the brush settings and you tweak things. I tweak things as I'm painting. As I'm painting with different stages, I'll tweak the brush accordingly, because sometimes the brush needs to do this in this stage, and sometimes the brush needs to do that in the other stage. I know that sounds intimidating to go into the brush settings, but trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. There are still times in Photoshop where I'll press a button and just freak out because I don't even know what I did. And if you download a brush, when you experiment enough, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. You'll eventually get to the point where you can tell, like, why is this brush, why don't I like this brush? I want to like it, but I don't like it. Such and such is wrong with it. You'll be able to see it and be like, oh, you know, it doesn't have the texture turned on. It's a little too airy for me. Click the texture box. Just look at it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen it already, you know what I'm talking about. Boom. So that's it. I use those two tools. I use the round brush in Photoshop with a little bit of texture thrown in there, which you can achieve in the brush settings, as I went on and on about. And I also use the mixer tool. That's very unexciting, but that is the truth. I will occasionally use one other brush though. It is a brush by digital artist Aaron Griffin. He has a free brush set. I'm pretty sure it's still floating around the internet somewhere. I did one piece, I'll put it up here. I did one piece with when I first got those brushes, and I just went crazy. I used every single brush that was in that set because I was just like, oh my god. And that back then I thought that brushes would do all the work for me. Like, I didn't need to like work too hard at texturizing something, because if you download the right brush, it does it for you. That is true in some cases, but also no, I don't paint like that anymore. The camera shut off on me, so it's probably like, you talk too much. Stop. So that's the end of this video. I was thinking I may do a Q&A. I get a lot of questions, and though I answer them when I can, a lot of them repeat themselves. I think I should maybe just make a video, put them all in a little package. But I only do that if you want me to. Like, I'm not just gonna just throw stuff at you on this channel. If you don't want me to do it, I'm not gonna do it. But if you want me to do a Q&A, I will do that. Just comment on Instagram, comment under here, comment wherever you feel comfortable commenting and are able to. If I get enough comments and you guys want me to, or get enough questions and you guys want me to, I will do a Q&A. Like I said, I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't have like a way to sign off. Like, I've seen people like kiss the camera. I'm gonna just say bye.